A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A plus English because it's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A plus way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A plus English.
Hello everyone, welcome to A Plus English. I'm Mike.
I'm Chickling.
And today we are going to be learning about 4 sneakers that made history. 4 sneakers that made history. We're not talking about people who sneak around. This isn't like about the guy who stole the Mona Lisa back in 19 whatever. No, sneakers are running shoes. That's what we're talking about. Sports shoes, running shoes, sneakers, trainers. People in the UK might call them trainers. But these casual shoes that some people wear just for exercise, but a lot of people wear now a lot of the time when they're not supposed to wear nice, fancy business leather shoes. We often find ourselves walking, shopping, running, and just relaxing in sneakers. And of course, they are very popular. Some people collect them. They're called sneakerheads. People who collect them and, talk about them and blog about them and do, YouTube shows about them and spend lots of money on them. Right. And of course, some of them are very famous and also very expensive. Now, do you remember your very first pair of sneakers?
I have no clue, but definitely my parents bought them for me.
Okay, I remember my first pair. I think they were Nikes, and they had those cool little bottoms, and we were such young, stupid kids that we thought you could run up the wall with those, because they had like a little suction cup on the bottom, almost like Spider-Man or something. That didn't work. Wow. But they were very exciting, and I think mine were blue with gold. I
can't believe you still remember that.
Yeah, very, very nice.
I don't have any memory of it.
They don't fit anymore. And boy, do they smell. All right, so let's talk about our questions. We're going to move on to the article very soon. Can you think of the 4 types of sneakers we might be looking at today? I'm thinking Air Jordan has to be in there. That's probably the only one I could really name like right away.
Converse.
One stars, high tops.
I used to have a lot of them.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, that kind of changed sports in the same way that the Air Jordans did later on. And then there's 2 more.
Okay, we'll find out.
We'll just have to find out. So join us.
Four sneakers that made history. Warm-up question. What was your first pair of sneakers? Share their story.
Sneakers aren't just for sports. Let's look at 4 classic kinds with cool stories. Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star. The canvas and rubber Converse All-Star came out in 1917. In the 1920s, basketball player and salesman Chuck Taylor joined Converse. He helped improve the shoe. To thank him, Converse started using his name on it in 1932.
All right, so let's get back to the article. Sneakers aren't just for sports. No, of course, that's what they were called. They used to be called running shoes. Some people still call them that. Where are my running shoes? Where are my sneakers? Where are my sports shoes? Where are my athletic shoes? Or in the UK, where are my trainers? But sneakers is a very common word, so they aren't just for sports, meaning, of course, that they're made for that, but now people use them for all sorts of other things, like cell phones aren't just for calling people, they're for cameras and shopping and online searching and all the other stuff. So yes, they aren't just for sports. Let's look at 4 classic kinds with cool stories. So something's a classic, it's kind of old, but also much loved and much respected and still may be popular today, right? Doesn't mean no one likes it. It means it's from a long time ago and it's a very important part of our culture. So that's what we're going to be looking at.
Classic 这个字很棒，它就是有经典的意思，很经典，大家都知道，然后又很有意义的感觉。所以其实运动鞋呢，不仅是运动时穿的鞋子，我们今天要看4种经典运动鞋，然后还有他们背后很酷的故事。What's our first brand?
You nailed it, my friend. The Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star. I would also say the Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star High Top, because that's the one with a kind of higher ankle, right? More like the basketball style. It says the canvas and rubber Converse All-Star came out in 1917.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
We weren't even born
The
yet.
world is in the middle of World War I, and Chuck Taylor says, we need better running shoes. Okay, well, they're very popular because here we are way past 2017, and people are still wearing them. I wore these in the winter in Montreal, Canada.
Wow.
That's a bad idea.
Why?
They're super cold.
Okay.
They're not good for keeping your feet warm. But, punk rock, I was young and they were cool. But people would say, why are you wearing those? And I would say, because I'm stupid.
And they look cool.
And they look cool, exactly. And they're cheaper than winter boots.
Yeah. 所以这个 Converse All Star 这个帆布橡胶鞋子是在1917年推出 ，Canvas 就是帆布，这边的 come out 就是有上市的意思。
Yeah, canvas is that very strong material, right? A lot of shoes now are made of plastic,
对。
but that kind of tough material, canvas. They also make what you paint on, right?
那个
That's a
画画的
canvas.
那个。
Or the sails of ships used to be made of canvas. Very strong, tough
帆布。
material. Not warm though. It says in the 1920s, basketball player and salesman Chuck Taylor joined Converse. So there you go. He was not only a basketball player, but he also was really good at selling shoes. And I guess if you're talking to someone who spends their job running around in shoes, if they say hey, these are comfortable, you might believe them. Yeah.
所以这个1920年代篮球的选手兼销售员 Chuck Taylor 他加入了 Converse，所以其实 these shoes have been around for over a century.
That's right.
It's crazy. So much older than us.
Very well, you speak for yourself. Yes, they are very old, but clearly it would be interesting to see the oldest version. I think they're probably pretty similar. Right? They haven't changed. Now they would have many more colors, so that would be nice. But yeah, basically the same shoe. It says he helped improve the shoe. To thank him, Converse started using his name on it in 1932. Oh, so the old ones would be the Converse One Star. They wouldn't be the Chuck Taylor One Stars.
Okay.
That would be ones that came out in 1932.
所以 Chuck Taylor 他帮助了这个改进了这个鞋子，所以 Converse 为了感谢他，就在1932年把他的名字印在鞋子上，哎，好酷哦！所以这边的 shoe 大家记得哦，它是单数，代表鞋款的意思，不要念错，很多学生都会念成 shoe， 可是不是 shoe 是 shoe。
Puma suede. The Puma suede was made in 1968. That was the same year as the Mexico City Olympics. After a race, American medalist Tommy Smith raised both hands in the air. One hand wore a black glove. In the other hand, he held a Puma suede. This moment tied the shoe to the fight against racism.
All right, so the next shoe we have on our list of 4 famous shoes is the Puma Suede. All right, so far, these companies are all still around, still very popular. I think Puma and Adidas, those are brothers.
Right.
And I think a lot of people know this. They had a big fight, and then they broke the company up. And one brother's like, oh, I hate you. And the other one's, oh, I hate you more. I'm going to do Adidas. I'm going to do Puma. And now they both make a lot of shoes. I don't know if they actually like each other, if the family has come back together. But anyways, these are both German companies. Puma is quite well known. They have that nice kind of upside down swoosh, very cool design. And one of their most famous and popular shoes, even now, is the Puma Suede. This talks about the material it's made of. Suede is a kind of leather. So like canvas that we saw there on the Converse All-Stars, very tough material, but not plastic, because it's a little bit older. How old? It was made in 1968. And it says that was the same year as the Mexico City Olympics, the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City. Probably well known also for Bob Beamon, the American athlete, doing a crazy long jump that was never beaten for like 30 years. Do you know why?
No.
Mexico is really, really high. It's a really high city, so the air's really thin.
Right.
So jumping through the air was much easier. And so when athletes then tried to do that jump in London or Tokyo or other Olympics afterwards, they couldn't. So his
Wow.
his world record, it was like a 20-foot long jump, like crazy long.
Gosh.
But anyways, that was the famous 1968 Olympics.
Okay.
And maybe he was wearing Puma suedes too. I don't know.
OK，
Yeah.
所以这个 Puma Suede 是一款鞋子，那它是在1968年推出的哦，也刚好是墨西哥城奥运会的那一年。Suede 是一种材质，我们常会在这个可能外套也有啦，鞋子也有，它就是鸡皮的意思，仿鸡皮。
Exactly right. So Bob Beamon, the long jumper, was very famous, but probably the most famous image is from the Olympics in 1968 is related to another American athlete. We get to that here. It says, after a race, American medalist Tommy Smith raised both hands in the air. You might have seen the famous picture of Tommy Smith and another American athlete, both with black leather gloves, raising their hands in the Black Power salute. This, of course, is 1968, just a few months after Dr. Martin Luther King was murdered in America. So there's a lot of racial tension and politics. And as a political gesture of black pride, Tommy Smith raised both hands. The famous picture is him with just one hand.
Right, okay.
Right, but as we're going to see, Puma got into that somehow.
OK， 原来是这样子，所以在一次比赛之后呢，美国奖牌的得主 Tommy Smith 他举起了双手。我们这边看到的单字 medalist， 它是奖牌的得主的意思，因为 medal 就是有奖牌的意思嘛。
That's right. I think he was a sprinter. He was a runner and he won a medal.
短跑选手。
And another American athlete also won a medal. And so on Tommy Smith, one hand wore a black glove, or he had a black glove on one hand. In the other hand, he held a Puma suede.
OK
He held his shoe up.
酷，所以他两手都举，可是他一手是黑色手套，刚刚麦克老师有说，另一只手是握着这个 Puma Suede 的鞋子。
There you go. And this moment, it tied the shoe to the fight against racism. So we want black power and Puma power together, and everyone will be free and run fast.
所以其实这张照片呢，就是让这个鞋子跟反对种族歧视的运动呢，一些活动啊紧密相连，大家都会联系在一起。这个 racism 就是种族主义哦，所以如果是有种族歧视的人，我们英文常会说 Why you can't like that's you're racist。我们英文名词也可以这样子用，就是会种族歧视别人的人。所以我们又在文章中看到 tie A to B， 这个就是把 A 跟 B 做连结的意思。所以因为在1960年代，美国的黑人民权运动兴起哦，所以大家对抗种族歧视的呼声就越来越高。在这个1968年的墨西哥城奥运颁奖台上，他这个 Tommy Smith 是个非裔，这个 African American 的运动员，所以他举起这个黑手套的拳头，而且他赤脚穿黑色的袜子，去象征这个黑人社群的贫穷跟困境。所以这个举动引起大家的关注，也是当时反对种族歧视运动很强烈的象征哦。
All right, still a very famous image, of course, both of those athletes. USA written across their sweaters and standing there with their heads down. Still a very powerful symbol of the civil rights movement in America then and today.
So how do you think fashion and style can help send messages about important issues like this?
Oh, all sorts of different ways. People can wear clothes that sort of symbolize their cultural pride. They can wear clothes that actually have symbols on them, or a lot of times the color of the clothes can tell a lot, right? So you can make a quiet protest by wearing a certain color. You don't have to be loud about it or disruptive, but there's lots of ways. And I think also, if you're from a certain part of the world, just wearing your own colors, your own clothes, your own cultural style, I think that's a great thing to do.
Yeah. 所以像那个什么，我们常常看到那个乳癌，我们常常会用这个 pink 粉红色 it's like an awareness for breast cancer.
Breast cancer research, yes, absolutely.
Sneakers 就是运动鞋的意思哦。我们今天整堂课都在讲 sneakers。那比如说穿运动鞋就是 wear sneakers. She loves to wear sneakers when she goes for a run. 她喜欢跑步的时候穿运动鞋。那老师刚刚有讲到这个什么很爱收集这个什么运动鞋的人叫 sneakerhead， 就是你把它想象成一个很疯狂的人，就是 sneakerhead 鞋迷。那我们再看另外一个句子 I got new sneakers because I want to start running every day. 我买了一双新的运动鞋，因为我想要开始每天跑步。那我们今天课文一开始也看到 classic 这一个字，它是形容词，代表经典的意思。比如说经典电影，英文就是 classic movie。比如说 The Godfather is considered a classic movie in American cinema。教父呢是被认为是美国电影的经典之作。那我们再看另外一个句子哦。 The Volkswagen Beetle is one of the classic cars of the 20th century. 福斯的金龟车是20世纪的经典车款之一。那我们再看另外一个单字是 improve。improve 这边是动词啊，本来就是个动词，它代表改良的意思或进步。比如说你想要进步改进你的技能，你就可以 improve your skills。比如说 he practices every day to improve his guitar skills。他每天练习去改进他的吉他技能。那我们再看另外一个句子也是动词。After Marcy improved the clothes design, the shop started making money。在 Marcy 呢改良了衣服的设计后，整间店的生意就开始有了起色。那最后一个单字我们看到的是 against， 它是反对的意思。我们常常会说要对抗压力，所以对抗什么东西可以 to fight against something。那如果是压力就是 pressure。So she had to fight against the pressure of meeting tight deadlines。她会要这个很紧迫的跟这个截止的日期做斗争，因为快要赶不上，会迟到。那我们看另外一个句子。People are against smoking in this city because it is bad for their health. 居民们呢反对在这个城市里面吸烟，因为对他们的健康是有损害的。OK， 所以大家不要忘记复习。Right now, let's go to our review time activity.
Review time.
All right, we are back with a little review time game. As usual, we had 4 new words in our article today. Those words, just to remind you, were sneakers, classic, improve, and against.
Okay.
All right, so let's see what we can do. We can do a game of synonyms, words that mean a very, very similar kind of word, or you would use this word or that word, and it would kind of mean the same thing in a sentence. I think we'll start off easy. We gave a few of these synonyms, so we'll begin there. Running shoes.
This is
trainers.
Sneakers.
Gym shoes. Yeah, sneakers, exactly. Those shoes you wear for exercise and for walking comfort. To enhance, to ameliorate, to make better.
Make something better, to enhance, to improve
to
something.
Improve, to go from okay to better in some kind of way. Okay. Counter, opposite.
Opposite.
In opposition.
In opposition. You're against.
You're against, yes. You play opposite, you play in opposition or counter to someone. And let's see, beloved.
Beloved.
Much loved.
Much loved. Respected.
Famed, respected.
Classic.
Golden. We sometimes use golden to talk about things that are classic. Yes, it's classic. It's old, but still people love it. Iconic. That might be another one. Well done.
Yay.
You win a pair of 14-year-old stinky Chuck Taylors.
Okay.
There you go. No, yeah, you win some new shoes.
Okay, I'm happy.
But you'll have to come back tomorrow to collect them.
Okay.
All right, good deal. Bye-bye, everyone.
所以今天的主题是不是很精彩啊？欢迎到我们的空中家教，跟我们一起线上聊更多。拜拜。
It's funny, we're not actually wearing shoes right now.
I know.
It's weird.